Oh, yes, we are live in Facebook, in YouTube. Hello, Shayna, how are you doing?
I'm great, Aida. How are you doing?
I'm also fine, thank you very much. So, Shayna, let's wait a few minutes, just our viewers can join us.
That's great. That's great. I'm so excited. This is a wonderful children's book, and
Mhm.
I am very grateful to join all of the wonderful programs that AC Bishkek has been hosting.
Yes, I'm also very amazed by the illustrations of this book. So, yes, our friends join us. So, good evening, dear friends. Bishkek American Center is welcoming you in our session. Thank you very much for joining us today. To celebrate the International Children's Protection Day, our center is hosting virtual reading of the book The Boy Who Spoke to the Earth by Chris Burkhardt. The Deputy Public Affairs Officer of the U.S. Embassy in Kyrgyzstan, Shayna Krem, will be reading it in Kyrgyz. So after the reading, you are welcome all to ask the questions. So this book and many others were translated into the Kyrgyz language and published with the support of the U.S. Embassy's book translation program. So thank you very much, Shayna, for joining us and being with us today. I think we can start the reading.
Sure, sure. I'll just also begin by saying that the book translation program is one of my favorite literary programs that the U.S. Embassy sponsors. And this is, I think, a beautiful example of a book that has been translated into Kyrgyz language that also provides an English language learning tool because for the first time ever, the English and the Kyrgyz are printed side by side. So you can follow along, you can look at the Kyrgyz and you can look at the English and you can actually use it as a learning tool. And the messages within it too, you'll see are very focused on the environment. So it's a beautiful message as well. And as you mentioned, Ida, beautiful illustrations as well. So overall, a really nice book, and anyone can visit the AC and look at a copy as well. We have copies there in all of our ACs throughout all of Kyrgyzstan. So not only this book, but all of the other books as well. So today I'll be reading The Boy Who Spoke to the Earth, which is a beautiful children's book. We'll be reading it, and you'll have to bear with me because I am very beginner Kyrgyz, but I am going to do my best after after a year of once per week Kyrgyz lessons. We'll see how I do. But please be kind and forgiving if I do make mistakes, as I am by no means a professional in Kyrgyz language. So, this is The Boy Who Spoke to the Earth, which is by David McClellan, an American author, and we will be reading this book. I'll start first with the English and then I'll do the Kyrgyz, so you'll hear both.
Mhm.
There once was a boy who spoke to the earth. İlgeri ilgeri Cermenin barlaşıp Sülüşü algıla yaşaptip. And the earth spoke back. Cer dahi animenin sülüşüp Türkçü ekin. Earth, are you listening? Cer, sen beni ugup çatasın. Boy, my boy, I am always listening. Ovabalam, min seni daima ugup turam. Where can I find happiness? Vakati kaidan tapsam bolot. The journey to happiness is difficult, but I can show you the way, said the earth. Are you willing to make the journey? Vakatin jolu tatal, birok minsaha jol kursutüp bere alam detcer. Sin sayakatka chiguga dayasingbi. Oh, I am, said the boy, and he meant it. Ova, elbette. Dip bala, Çin dilinin dayar ekini aytat.
Mhm.
Then go to the ocean, where the waves tower overhead, said the earth. Anda tolkunu jek ti cirep. Adam buyunan da büyük kutur, okay, kuturulgun akyanga bar, diyecek. So the boy began to walk. Oceantip bala okyandi kuzdui junuit. I see the water and the shells, said the boy, but I don't see happiness. Min shumen ulul kabektarin kurdum, deyt bala, birok bakiti kurgun jokmun. Then go to the cliff where water is always flowing, said the earth. Anda susu tinimsiz şarkırap akan yukarılara barkin diyecek. So the boy waited, and he wandered until he left the waves behind. Oceantip bala cekti taşap, jol cürüp oturup, tolkundardan alistayt. I see the spray and moss, said the boy, but I don't see happiness. Taştan taşka urungan sünün ça çaçiran dintin cana muhtordu kordum. Birok bakati jolluktura albadim, deyt bala. Then go to the forest, where trees gather together, said the earth. Anda bak daraktar jish dün toktoygo bar, said Jer. So the boy stepped, and he strode until he left the mark behind. Munu uka aldiha kadam tashtap, muhtor alis kalgıça basip ketiberet. I see the roots and the leaves, said the boy, but I don't see happiness. Tamirlar meni jalbirak tardi kurdum, deyt bala. Birok baketi koru alhan jumun. Then go to the desert, where red stone guards the way, said the earth. Anda kızıl tar yol kaytargan çolgu dönü, deyt. So the boy hiked, and he hauled until he left the trees behind. Oşantip bala cer kezip oturup, kalın toktoy da arta kalat. I see the sand and the stone, said the boy, but I don't see happiness. Kümmenin taşti kurdum, deyt bala, birok bakati korböydüm. Then go to the mountains, where peaks touch the clouds, said the earth. Anda tübüsü bulut, tiregin tolurgo çök, deyt. So the boy tracked, and he trudged until he left behind. Bala karandan o çıgat, kümdü çol kalkıça uzak jol basat. I see the rocks and the brush, said the boy, but I don't see happiness. Aska zolor menin badaldardi kordum, deyt bala, birok baketi Kan Jokmun. Then go to the top of the world, where lights dance in the sky, said the earth. Anda asmanda jarık bilir, bilirgin. Dünyanın en büyük ak muzdu çok çokusuna var diyecek. So the boy climbed and he crawled until he left the peaks behind. Oceantip bala timişip cırmılıp oturup tolurdunca büyük cihat. I see the ice and the snow, said the boy, but I still don't see happiness. Mungumenin kardi kurdum dit bala, birok dahi dile baketi kurbuy jatam. This time the didn't answer. Buljolu, bir job, wait. So the boy walked and he walked and he walked until he left it all behind. Oceantip bala kete beret, kurgöndün bari arta kalat. I've traveled so far and seen so much, but I still haven't seen or found happiness. Min ustalık alis sayahattadim. Köptüt kurdum. Birok dahi ele baketin damin tatadim. Earth, are you listening? Cried the boy. Jir, sin ugup jata singri? Dip kik irat bala. My boy, did you look without seeing? Asked the earth. Balam, sin kara birok korbup tursün kozün menin emes. Jurogün menin karap kordübü dip surayt jer. Go back along the trail, but this time stand still for just a moment. Jol menin kayra artina kayt birok bul jolu bir köz ir iremge hop aylangana aylananga köz jürüptüçü. So the boy went back and looked again. Oceantip bala artka kaytip. Barına kayrandan köz çaptirat. And here we have beautiful visuals of the water. He went back to the Sioux. He went back to the waterfall and to the forest and to the desert where the red rocks were, and again to the mountains. And I've heard many people say that this book reminds them of Kyrgyzstan because of all of the beautiful visuals that the lake looks very much like Isikul and the mountains look like Alarcha. So it could be in Kyrgyzstan, this book. And there we have the beautiful Aurora Borealis, the boy at the top of the mountains. And now, and for the first time, the boy truly saw Oshondo bala birinci jolu çindap kurut. Happiness was all around him. Bakit ani tush tarabinan Kurchap Turup Tup. And that is the end of this beautiful children's book, which shows the beautiful relationship of boy with nature. I hope that you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, Shayna. So it's great kids books. I mean, this an awesome message and very stunning illustrations. Thank you very much for reading it. So we now can read the questions that were addressed to you. So everyone is very thankful. Like, thank you for trying really hard. I love that and do appreciate your hard work. Thank you so much. So nice, by the way, Kyrgyz without accent. So glad to meet you, Shayna. So you're awesome. Your Kyrgyz is really good.
Oh,
So many awesome comments. Yes, you're really fluent in Kyrgyz language, Shayna.
oh my goodness. Wow. This is, as I mentioned, it's a wonderful learning tool for me too. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually this book to my Kyrgyz language teacher, and we went through it and read it together because it is a wonderful way to learn the Kyrgyz language, which is such a beautiful language as well. So, and it is difficult, a beautiful but difficult language, I think, for many
Mm-hmm.
Americans to learn.
Great. Thank you very much, Shayna. So the first question, do you have any difficulties in reading Kyrgyz literature? In what exact?
Hmm. So I have found this is very interesting. Maybe you can also comment on this, Aida. But I found that written Kyrgyz is more complex than spoken Kyrgyz. That when it's written, oftentimes the formal writing is very different than how people speak. Find the grammar to be more complex. There's different ways, different tenses of writing things. And sometimes even my Kyrgyz teacher would say, this is the way that it's written in Kyrgyz, but this is not the way, we don't say this. So I find that to be interesting. Do you find that to be true as well?
Yes, I mean the logical sequence of the sentence is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and
That's
also these letters like also
that's
like
true.
difficult to pronounce.
Yeah. One I think trend throughout this book that you can see is that there's many times where the same phrase is repeated in English. Um, it says the boy didn't see it, or I don't see it, and it's the same phrase in English, but it changes slightly every time in Kyrgyz. It's a different phrase every time in Kyrgyz. The way the grammar. So I think that was, I kept questioning, why is it different this time? Why are they saying it differently? But it's more stylistic. So I thought that was very interesting. This translation, many of the translations we have are done by a few of professional
Hmm.
translation services that operate through our book translation program. And this was one of these, and they did, I think, just a fantastic job in their translation as well. In my opinion, I think it turned out really nicely.
Yes, great. I think it's more related to the meaning. I mean, depending on the context of the sentences. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much, Shayna. So the next question for you: how long do you study Kyrgyz language?
Oh my goodness. Well, not enough, clearly. I have very much a lot of interest. I love languages, and as I mentioned, I think the Kyrgyz language is beautiful, and I love the way that it sounds, and I love to interact with everyone who speaks Kyrgyz language. Um, for now, I've been taking classes with a Kyrgyz language teacher. We were meeting twice per week. And then, unfortunately, after quarantine, it's been very
Mhm.
difficult. to schedule meetings with her because of the time difference. So we've been just meeting virtually, but at this time, I would say it's I'm looking forward to starting again my Kyrgyz language classes so I can get a little bit better.
Great. Thank you very much, Shaina, for your response. So the next question for you. What do you usually read to your kids?
hmm So my kids love all sorts of children's books. We have even some of the same books that the book translation program has translated. So Blueberries for Sal, one of those
Mhm.
books. Iggy Peck Architect is one of those books. We have Where the Wild Things Are, which is also one of the books. Those are all by American authors, wonderful illustrated children's books. They love Dr. Seuss books.
Mhm.
In books, we read a poetry book last night before bed. But they also really love Pokemon, and we do read quite a bit of Pokemon in our house as well.
Great. Yes, it's. I think it's now very popular, like Pokemon books. So
Yeah.
the same here. Thank you
Mhm.
very much, Shaina.
Sure.
So, why? This book was chosen for reading today. The
That's a
boy.
great question. Yeah. So, as I mentioned, we have a program to select a few titles and translate them and have a certain number of copies published. And the titles vary. What we do from the embassy is we put out a call for proposals. We ask for ideas, and our partners send us in their suggestions, and based on the criteria, which it has to be either an American author or related to a theme that reflects American values, we select a book. We have a group of panelists that meet and discuss the proposals and choose the best ones, but tying to values, core values or ideals that are important to the United States. And in this case, there is, a clear message of appreciation for the environment, and also recognizing the importance of taking care of the environment. So that is the message within this book, and then in general, the whole program is designed to support education
Mhm.
and supporting um, reading, and in this case also English language learning, because it is itself a tool with the duolingual aspect incorporated in the book as well.
Yes. Cool. Thank you very much, Shaina. So, if your kids also can speak or understand Kyrgyz language.
Wow, my kids have Kyrgyz language classes. One in their balabakcha, they have
Mhm.
their Kyrgyz course, and I think it's pretty basic, but they can identify words. So I will sometimes quiz them and ask them, what is a dog in Kyrgyz? And they say eat. And what is a horse in Kyrgyz? And they say at. So they know some basic Kyrgyz, and they can understand a little bit, but they definitely can't speak fluently. I think they can understand some basic Kyrgyz, though, for sure.
Yes, I think it's very exciting for them to learn Kyrgyz language. Thank you very much, Shaina.
Mhm.
We also heard that you're singing in Kyrgyz language.
Oh, wow. This is true. Yes. I did do one song that I recorded um, with Mirbek Atabayev, and we did a song together for New Year's. hmm So Jangi Juldi Tosolu, which is a beautiful song, and we did that. We mixed it together with Jingle Bells. it was a lot of fun, and also really fun to sing in Kyrgyz language. But I really do. I think there's some beautiful Kyrgyz songs out there as well. So yeah, absolutely, it's a lot of fun, and I hope that that it was interesting for people to hear the mix of the English and the Kyrgyz together as well.
Yes, I saw this video. It was really awesome. Thank you very much, Shayna. So, what kind of other topics are supported through this book translation program? And are they only for kids?
Right. So it is primarily targeted towards youth in general. But as you can see, this is a book that is targeted towards a younger audience, more of a primary education audience. So we do have other books that are targeted more towards young adults. We have other books that are more, I would say, guides in nature. We have a book, for example, that helps students, young Kyrgyz students, to learn about STEM by conducting experiments that they can do at home, and other books that are focused on um, different aspects of, as I mentioned, values that are important to the United States. So we have some that are under um, translation right now that are supporting, women's rights, supporting STEM, and supporting different aspects of human rights and so forth. So there are different books that we have that are targeted towards different ages. This is just one that happens to be targeted towards a younger audience. So one that's under translation right now is the book of Elon Musk's
Mhm,
biography. We had a book that was Steve Jobs' autobiography as well. So we do some nonfiction, some fiction. There's kind of a mix of everything. And it really just depends on the titles that are put forth for consideration, and the panel decision on which to pick that year.
mhm. Great. So, where we can find these books? Where
Mhm.
to read books? Yes.
Wonderful. Well, that's a perfect question. And you know that you can go into any of our American corners throughout the Kyrgyz Republic, and we have copies of these books available. A lot of these books, too, are distributed from the American corners down to the district level libraries. So,
Mhm,
in almost any the major libraries, you can find copies of this book and other books. And I know that in Bishkek, we have all of these books prominently displayed, and our coordinators, who are extremely helpful, will be able to point you in the direction if folks
yes.
want to borrow them within the library and look at those while they're there. So we have those copies available.
Yes. Thank you very much, Shayna. So, all these books are behind me. So, thank you. So, we know that there are many other books. So, are you planning to do other virtual book readings, Shayna?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think we would like to continue this program. It would be great if we incorporate also other American volunteers who want to read some of the books. We might do some adaptations where we have an American reading the English version, and someone else reading the Kyrgyz, since other Americans might not have had the ability to take Kyrgyz language courses. So we might do a mixture, but absolutely, and we would love to hear which books that people are most interested in hearing. So if we hear suggestions, um, maybe Aida, you could share some of the titles that we have available, and ask our audience which of those they're interested in hearing. And we would be most glad to have a volunteer come on and read those as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Shana, for your recommendation. So yes, we will do it. Thank you very much, Shana. This was our last question for you. So
Great.
we were happy, yes, to have you in our session. And thank you very much, Shaina, for your awesome reading. Your Kyrgyz is really, really good. And thank you, everyone, for your participation. It was really an active participation, for your questions, for your comments. So, and now it's time to say goodbye for everyone. So, thank you very much.
Thanks, Aida. All right. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great evening. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye.